Why do you feel bad every time you take a break? Why does a nice thing someone says feel like a lie? Why do you say sorry for crying, for needing help, or for just being here? People have told you you're strong and tough, that you turned out okay. But okay is just a mask. And behind it, there's a kid who learned that love has to be earned by staying quiet. That being safe means staying invisible. That your needs don't matter as much as making everyone else comfortable. Today, we're going to discover why. He's 7 years old, sitting at the kitchen table, looking at his hands. Small hands, hands that don't know yet how heavy they'll feel later. His mother is in the next room. He can hear her. The quiet sound of her crying, the kind that tries to hide but comes through the walls anyway. He wants to go to her. Wants to ask if she's okay, wants to be hugged and told that everything will be all right. But he's learned not to. Because the last time he cried, she looked at him with tired eyes and said, "Not now. I can't handle this right now." So he sits still and quiet. He learns to check the room before he walks in, to look at faces for signs of danger, to make himself smaller, quieter, less. He learns that his feelings are too big, that his sadness is too heavy for others, that his happiness bothers people. He learns that love has rules, that it must be earned, that it can be taken away if he asks for too much, and so he stops asking. He becomes the child who never complains, who always says, "I'm fine," who learns to carry his own problems before his bones are strong enough to hold them. This is how it starts, not with hitting or being mean, but with emptiness. Music, this is what happens when a child's feelings are met with silence, when their tears make people annoyed, when their joy is ignored, when just being alive feels like they're bothering someone. It's called childhood emotional neglect, and it's one of the hardest types of hurt to see, because it's not about what happened to you. It's about what didn't happen. No one hit you. No one yelled. No one locked you in a closet. From the outside, everything looked fine. You had food, clothes, a home, maybe even good grades and after-school activities. But inside, you were starving. Starving for someone to ask, "How are you feeling?" Starving for someone to notice when you were having a hard time. Starving for someone to tell you that your feelings weren't too much, but you weren't too much. That you were allowed to take up space in this world. And when that hunger goes unnoticed for years, it doesn't just go away when you grow up. It follows you into your friendships, into your job, into the way you see yourself. It becomes the voice in your head that says, "You're being dramatic. You're making it bigger than it is. You should be thankful. Other people have it worse." But here's the question we're going to answer today. What happens to that child? If you've ever felt bad for resting, keep listening. If you've ever said sorry for crying, this is for you. If you've ever felt like you're too much and not enough at the same time, you're in the right place. Because kids who didn't get emotional care grow into adults who carry invisible hurts. They become the people who can't accept nice words without pushing them away, who pull back when someone asks, "What do you need?" Who say "I'm fine" even when they're breaking inside. They become adults who are scared of being too much for others, who do too much in every friendship, who give and give and give until there's nothing left and then feel bad for being empty. They become the friend everyone comes to, but who never asks for help back. The partner who loves deeply, but can't believe they're loved back. The worker who pushes themselves until they're exhausted, because being busy feels like proof they matter. And the saddest part, they don't even know it's connected to their childhood. Because when neglect is invisible, so is the hurt. You can't point to one moment and say, "That's when it happened." It was 1,000 small moments. 1,000 times your feelings were pushed away. 1,000 times you learned that you didn't matter as much as you needed to. And now, years later, you're still living like that kid at the kitchen table. Still making yourself smaller. Still waiting for permission to exist. So, let me ask you something. Do you have trouble knowing what you're feeling? Like someone asks, "How are you?" And you really don't know. You say, Fine, because it's easier than digging through the mess inside. Do you get really defensive when someone asks a simple question? What are you doing? Feels like blame. Are you okay? Feels like an attack. Because growing up, questions weren't about curiosity. They came before criticism. Are you a people pleaser? Not just nice or kind, but someone who can't relax until everyone else is happy. Someone who reads the room like their life depends on it. Because it did. Do you find it almost impossible to ask for help? You'd rather struggle alone, fail alone, hurt alone, than risk being told you're too much, too needy, too weak. Do you feel really ashamed after the smallest mistake? You spill coffee and feel like you did something terrible. You forget something small and hate yourself because you learned early that mistakes meant you didn't deserve love. Do you want to be alone all the time? Being around people is tiring because you're always performing, always managing their feelings, always making sure you're not too much. So you pull away, you hide, you disappear into yourself because it's the only place that feels safe. Do you lie a lot? Not to be mean, but automatically, because the truth was never safe. Your real feelings were never okay, so you learned to hide them, to protect them, to keep them locked away where no one could say they were wrong. Do you have trouble making decisions because you're so cut off from your own wants and needs that you really don't know what you like? And if you do know, you're scared of choosing wrong and letting someone down. Do you look for partners who can't fully be there for you? This one's going to hurt. But you're pulled to people who can't completely show up for you, because that's what love looked like growing up. Far away, with rules, always just out of reach. If you see yourself in even 3 of these, keep listening because we're about to discover why. And maybe you're thinking, but I had a good childhood. Maybe your parents weren't mean. Maybe they took care of you. Maybe they even loved you. And they did, in the only way they knew how. But love without emotional connection isn't enough. A child needs more than food and shelter. They need to be seen, to be heard, to be told that their feelings matter. And when that doesn't happen, the child doesn't think, my parents can't handle emotions. They think, I'm too much. I'm the problem. I need to be better. So you became better. You became the perfect child, the one who never complained, the one who got good grades and didn't cause trouble, the one who made yourself so easy to love that maybe, just maybe, you'd finally feel loved. But it didn't work, did it? Because no amount of success can fill the empty space left by emotional neglect. You can have the job, the relationship, the life everyone wishes they had, and still feel like you're faking, like you're waiting for someone to find out you're a fake. Because deep down, you still believe what that 7-year-old learned, that you're only valuable when you're useful, that love is something you earn, not something you deserve, that your needs are too much for others, and that belief is hurting you. But here's what you need to understand. This isn't something wrong with your personality. This isn't you being too sensitive or thinking too much. This is your nervous system doing exactly what it was trained to do. When you're a child and your emotional needs are always unmet, your brain makes a choice. It decides that emotions are dangerous, that showing you need things leads to rejection, that the safest way to survive is to become invisible. And so it builds walls, creates constant worry, makes coping tools that helped you survive childhood but are now choking you as an adult. You learned to read tiny face movements before you could read books. You learned to handle other people's emotions before you understood your own. You learned that your value was tied to being useful, being quiet, not needing anything. And now, as an adult, you're still running from that programming. You're still that child at the kitchen table, checking the room for danger, making yourself small, waiting for permission to exist. But here's the thing nobody told you. The danger is gone. The people who couldn't meet your needs then don't control your life now. But your nervous system doesn't know that. It's still protecting you from a danger that doesn't exist anymore. And that's why healing feels so hard. Because you're not just changing your thoughts. You're rewiring your entire survival system. Let me explain what actually happened in your brain. When a child goes through constant emotional neglect, their brain is actually shaped by that emptiness. In the first few years of life, your brain is building brain connections at an amazing speed. It's learning how the world works, how relationships work, how you fit into all of it, and it learns through what happens. When a baby cries and someone comes, they learn, my needs matter. I am safe. The world responds to me. But when a child cries and no one comes, or worse, when someone comes annoyed or dismissive, they learn something very different. They learn, my needs are too much. I am alone. I must handle everything myself. This is called attachment theory, and children who grow up without steady emotional connection develop what's called insecure attachment. They don't learn to trust that others will be there for them. They don't develop a solid sense of self. They don't learn the belief that they matter just because they exist. Instead, they learn the opposite. And here's where it gets even more damaging. When emotional needs are always unmet, the brain starts making stress chemicals, cortisol, and adrenaline at high levels. For a growing brain, this is toxic. It affects the hippocampus, which is in charge of memory and handling emotions. It affects the prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of making decisions and controlling impulses. It keeps the amygdala, the fear center, always turned on, which means you grow up with a brain that's wired to look for threats. You're always checking for danger, always waiting for something bad, always sure that if you let your guard down, something bad will happen. This isn't anxiety. This is your brain doing exactly what it was trained to do. Keep you safe in a place where showing emotions was dangerous. But you're not in that place anymore. And that's the sad part. You're still living like you are. And maybe you've gotten everything you thought would make you happy. The degree, the job, the relationship, the house, the life that looks perfect on paper. But you still feel empty. You still feel like you're waiting for your real life to start. You still feel like you're performing, pretending, playing a part. Because success doesn't heal emotional neglect. Winning doesn't fill the empty space left by a childhood where you weren't allowed to just be. You can be the most successful person in the room and still feel like that 7-year-old at the kitchen table, trying hard to earn love through silence. And the cruelest part, the exact traits that helped you survive the doing everything yourself. The perfectionism, the people-pleasing are the same traits that are now stopping you from healing. Because healing requires being vulnerable. It requires admitting you need help. It requires letting people see you when you're not perfect, not productive, not useful. And that feels impossible. Because the last time you were vulnerable, you were met with emptiness. The last time you had needs, you were made to feel like too much. So you learned to bury them. To bury the child who needed comfort, who needed reassurance, who needed to be told they mattered. You buried them so deep you forgot they were there. But they didn't die. They're still waiting. Do you see the connection now? The reason you can't rest without feeling bad is because rest was never safe. The reason you can't accept nice words is because praise always had rules. The reason you can't ask for help is because asking meant rejection. The reason you feel like too much is because your needs were treated like too much. Every behavior that's making your life harder now was once a survival tool. Doing everything yourself kept you safe, when depending on others meant disappointment. People-pleasing kept you safe, when other people's emotions decided your safety. Perfectionism kept you safe, when mistakes meant you were unlovable. Hiding emotions kept you safe, when showing feelings meant being dismissed or punished. These weren't choices. These were changes you made to survive. Your child self did the best they could with what they had. They built walls to protect a heart that was too soft for the world it was born into. They learned to survive in a place that couldn't hold them, and those walls saved you. But now they're a prison, because the same tools that protected you then are now keeping you from the connection. The rest, the love you desperately need. You're safe now, but you don't feel safe. And that's the work. Not to blame yourself for these patterns, but to understand them, to thank them for keeping you alive, and then, gently, to begin taking them down. But here's the truth. Nobody tells you the truth that's going to hurt and heal at the same time. You didn't have a childhood. You had a performance. You were a child playing the role of an adult because the actual adults couldn't handle being adults. Maybe your parent was sad. Maybe they were overwhelmed. Maybe they were dealing with their own unhealed hurt, and so you became the emotion manager. You became the one who controlled the mood of the house. You became the one who made sure everyone else was okay, even though you were just a child who needed someone to make sure you were okay. This is called parentification, and it's a form of emotional abuse, even if it wasn't on purpose. Because a child should never have to earn their parents' emotional stability. A child should never have to shrink themselves to make space for an adult's feelings. A child should never have to become a therapist, a peacemaker, a caretaker. But you did. And now as an adult, you're still doing it. You're still managing everyone else's emotions. You're still making yourself small to make others comfortable. You're still playing the role of the strong one, the reliable one, the one who has it all together. But you're exhausted because you never got to be the child. You never got to be messy, needy, imperfect. You never got to learn that love isn't something you earn. It's something you deserve simply because you exist. And that's the hurt. Not that you were hit or yelled at, but that you were never allowed to just be. You were never given permission to have needs, to make mistakes, to be human. And so you grew up believing that being human was a flaw, that your needs were too much, that you were too much, but you weren't. You were just a child who needed what every child needs, to be seen, to be heard, to be held. And you didn't get that, and I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve that. You were just a child who needed protection, who needed safety, who needed to be allowed to just be a child. But instead, you were forced to grow up too fast. You were forced to become the adult in the room when the actual adults couldn't handle their own emotions. And now, years later, you're still carrying that weight. You're still the one who has to be strong, the one who has to have it all together, the one who can't fall apart because if you do, who's going to hold everything together? But here's what I need you to understand. That wasn't love. That was survival. What you learned wasn't how to be loved. It was how to be useful, how to be needed, how to earn your place in the room by making yourself necessary. And I know you're tired. Tired of being strong. Tired of being the one everyone leans on. Tired of pretending you're fine when you're falling apart inside. So let me say this clearly. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to not have it all together. You are allowed to be human. Your worth is not decided by how much you can carry. Your value is not measured by how useful you are to others. You are worthy of love simply because you exist. Not because of what you do, not because of what you achieve, not because of how much you give, simply because you are. And I know this hurts. I know it's painful to realize that the childhood you deserved never happened, that the parents you needed weren't able to be those parents, that the love you wanted was always just out of reach. And it's okay to be sad about that. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel the loss of something you never had, because that loss is real. You lost the chance to be a carefree child. You lost the chance to make mistakes without shame. You lost the chance to have needs without guilt. You lost the chance to be loved without rules, without having to earn it. And that's a big loss, one that deserves to be mourned. So if you need to cry, cry. If you need to be angry, be angry. If you need to sit with the heaviness of this realization, sit with it. Don't rush past it. Don't try to get over it. Don't tell yourself you should be thankful because other people had it worse. Your pain is real. Your sadness is real. And you deserve to feel it. Because you can't heal what you don't admit is there. You can't move forward if you're still pretending the hurt doesn't exist. So admit it, feel it, and know that on the other side of this sadness is something you've been searching for your entire life: freedom. But here's the good news, the news that makes all of this worth facing. You can heal, not because you're broken, you're not, but because you're finally ready to stop living like that 7-year-old at the kitchen table. You're ready to stop making yourself small. You're ready to stop earning love you should have been given freely. You're ready to stop carrying a weight that was never yours to carry. And healing is possible. Not easy, not quick, not straight, but possible. Because your brain, the same brain that was shaped by neglect, has something called neuroplasticity, which means it can change. It can form new connections. It can learn new patterns. It can unlearn the belief that you're too much, that your needs are burdens, that love must be earned. You're not stuck with the programming from childhood. You can rewrite it, and I'm going to show you how. Not with unclear advice like just love yourself or let it go, but with real, doable steps that actually work. Because you've been strong enough. You've been independent enough. You've been selfless enough. Now it's time to learn something new. It's time to learn that you're allowed to need, that you're allowed to rest, that you're allowed to take up space in this world without saying sorry for it. And that starts now. So, how do you heal from childhood emotional neglect? First, you have to understand that healing isn't about fixing yourself. You're not broken, you're hurt. And there's a difference. Broken things need to be replaced. Hurt things need to be cared for. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to care for the hurts that have been ignored for too long. The first step is reconnecting with your emotions. Because emotional neglect disconnects you from your inner world. You'll learn to ignore your feelings because no one else paid attention to them. So now you don't even know what you're feeling half the time. Someone asks, "How are you?" And you really don't know. So you say fine because it's easier than digging for the truth. But healing requires you to start paying attention. To start asking yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Not what you should feel. Not what would be easy to feel, but what you actually feel. And this is hard because you've spent your entire life running from your emotions. But you can't heal what you won't feel. So the first step is simply this. Start noticing. Notice when your chest feels tight. Notice when your jaw clenches. Notice when you want to run, to hide, to disappear. And instead of pushing it away, get curious. What is this feeling trying to tell me? What does this feeling mean? What do I need right now? These questions are life-changing for someone who was taught their feelings don't matter. Here are 5 real practices that will change your life. 1. Track your emotions every day. Get a feelings chart. Yes, like the ones they use with kids. Because you never learned this as a child, so you're learning it now. Every day, check in with yourself and name what you're feeling. Not fine. Not okay. Actual emotions: sad, angry, worried, lonely, overwhelmed, happy, peaceful. At first, you might only recognize the big ones, but over time, you'll start noticing the smaller ones. And that awareness is the foundation of healing. 2. Practice describing emotions without naming them. This helps you understand your feelings better. Instead of saying, "I'm sad," say, "I feel heavy in my chest, like there's a weight pressing down. My eyes feel tired. I want to curl up and hide." This helps you actually feel your emotions, instead of just labeling them. 3. Identify and honor your needs. Make a list of your needs. Not what you think you should need, what you actually need. Do you need rest? Do you need connection? Do you need alone time? Do you need creative expression? Do you need movement? And here's the big part. Honor those needs. If you need rest, rest. Don't wait until you've earned it. Don't wait until you've been productive enough. Rest because you need it. That's reason enough. 4. Practice self-compassion. Talk to yourself the way you wish someone had talked to you as a child. When you make a mistake, instead of spiraling into shame, Say, it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. You're learning. You're human. When you're struggling, instead of pushing through, say, this is hard. You're allowed to find this hard. You're doing your best. This feels silly at first, but it rewires your brain. 5. Let people in. This is the hardest one because you've learned that people are unsafe. But healing requires connection. Start small. Find one person you trust and practice being honest with them. Not about everything, just about one thing. I'm having a hard day. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I could use some support. And notice what happens. Notice that the world doesn't end. Notice that they don't reject you. Notice that being vulnerable doesn't destroy you. It connects you. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to be hard. There will be days when you want to give up. Days when it feels easier to go back to the old patterns. Days when doing everything yourself feels safer than being vulnerable. Days when people-pleasing feels easier than setting boundaries. Days when you'll think, maybe I'm just not meant to be happy. Maybe this is just who I am. But here's what I need you to remember on those days. You're not going backward. You're not failing. You're just scared. And that's okay. Because the child in you is terrified. Terrified that if you stop performing, you'll be left. Terrified that if you have needs, you'll be rejected. Terrified that if you're not useful, you won't be loved. And that fear is real, because that's what happened before. But it doesn't have to happen again, because you're not that powerless child anymore. You're an adult now, an adult who gets to choose who you let into your life, an adult who gets to set boundaries, an adult who gets to say, this is what I need, and if you can't provide that, that's okay, but I'm not going to shrink myself to make you comfortable. And yes, some people will leave, the people who only loved you when you were useful, the people who only valued you when you were easy, the people who needed you to stay small so they could feel big. Let them go, because they were never your people. Your people are the ones who love you when you're messy, who stay when you're struggling, who celebrate your boundaries instead of punishing you for them. And those people exist. I promise you, they exist. And when you start showing up as your real self needs, emotions, imperfections, and all, you'll find them, or they'll find you. Because being real is magnetic, and the life you're meant to live is waiting on the other side of this fear. And here's the final truth, the one that changes everything. You were never too much. You were just surrounded by people who couldn't hold you. Your needs weren't too big. They were normal. Every child needs emotional connection. Every child needs to be seen, heard, validated. Every child needs to know that their feelings matter. You didn't get that? But that doesn't mean you didn't deserve it. It means the people who were supposed to provide it couldn't. Maybe because of their own hurt. Maybe because of their own limits. Maybe because they were never taught how. But their inability to meet your needs doesn't mean your needs were wrong. It means they weren't able. And that's not your fault. You were a child who deserved love without rules. A child who deserved to be protected, cared for, celebrated. A child who deserved to make mistakes without shame. A child who deserved to have needs without guilt. And you didn't get that? But you can give it to yourself now. You can become the parent you needed. You can give yourself permission to rest, to feel, to need. You can tell yourself the words you needed to hear. You matter. Your feelings are real. You are enough exactly as you are. You don't have to earn love. You are worthy simply because you exist. And slowly, over time, you'll start to believe it. Not because someone else told you, but because you told yourself, and you finally listened. The child you buried didn't die. They're still there, waiting in the kitchen at that table, hoping someone will finally come. And no one's coming. Not your parents. Not a partner. Not a therapist. Not me. The only person who can go back and rescue that child is you. You are the one who has to walk into that room, kneel down, and say, I see you. I'm sorry no one was there for you. I'm sorry you had to grow up so fast. I'm sorry you learned that love had rules. But I'm here now, and I'm not leaving. You're safe now. You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to need. You're allowed to rest. You never had a childhood, but you still have a future. And this time, you get to write it. So write it. Write a story where you're not the supporting character in everyone else's life. Write a story where your needs matter. Write a story where you're loved not for what you do, but for who you are. Write a story where you finally get to rest. You deserve that story, and it starts now. If this made sense to you, leave a comment below. Tell me which part hit hardest. Let's build a community of people who are done pretending to be fine. And if you want more content on healing from childhood hurt, subscribe, because we're just getting started. You're not alone in this, and you're going to be okay.